On the 20 slides shown below, I present the original photographs of the Second World War from the German archive, which are in my collection. These photos are from my collection department, Wehrmacht on the Eastern and Western Fronts. If you like it, subscribe to my YouTube, like it, so you don't miss the new weekly presentations. If you would like to order 5 inches by 7 inches copies of these photos from the original, you can specify which photos you would like to receive. Laboratory quality. Enjoy your viewing. German, 17. SS Panzer Grenadier Division Gotz von Berlichingen, was a German Waffen-SS division that saw action on the Western Front during World War II. The division was raised near Poitiers, France, as the Panzer Grenadier Division Gotz von Berlichingen in October 1943. It was formed from scratch, with the majority of its original cadre coming from replacement units and conscripts, many of whom were Romanian Germans and French volunteers. After September 8, 1943, around 500 Italian volunteers coming from units deployed in France were enlisted in Gotz von Berlichingen. The division was granted the honor title Gotz von Berlichingen. Obersturmbannführer Otto Binge saw the formation of the division, with the newly promoted Brigade Führer Werner Ostendorf taking command in January 1944. The Gotz von Berlichingen was placed under the 80 Army Corps, a part of Generalfeldmarschall Gerd von Rundstedt's Group D. As part of a plan to number all named SS divisions in early 1944, the division was retitled the 17th SS Panzer Grenadier Division Gotz von Berlichingen. In February 1944, the division still lacked vehicles. During the same year, on the orders of 80 Army Corps, the division began to round up French vehicles in an attempt to complete its mobilization. By March, most of the major combat formations were fully motorized, although 2 of the 6 infantry battalions were still on bicycles. On the 1st of June, the Gotz von Berlichingen found itself at Troyes in France, with no tanks, although the crews were fully equipped with 42 Sturmgeschütz IV assault guns, only a few months training, and below strength in officers and non-commissioned officers. The Panzerkampfwagen 35T, commonly shortened to Panzer 35T or abbreviated as PZ.Kfz. 35T, was a Czechoslovak-designed light tank used mainly by Nazi Germany during World War II. The letter T stood for Czechisch, German for Czech. In Czechoslovak service, it had the formal designation Leichttankwaffe 35, light tank model 35, but was commonly referred to as the LTVZ 35 or LT-35. A total of 434 were built. Of these, the Germans seized 244 when they occupied Bohemia Moravia in March 1939, and the Slovaks acquired 52 when they declared independence from Czechoslovakia at the same time. Others were exported to Bulgaria and Romania. In German service, it saw combat during the early years of World War II, notably the invasion of Poland, the Battle of France and the invasion of the Soviet Union before being retired or sold off in 1942. It was used for the remainder of the war by other countries and as a training tank in Bulgaria into the 1950s. The 503rd Heavy Panzer Battalion, German, Schwere Panzerabteilung 503, abbreviated, S.Pz.abt. 503, was a German heavy Panzerabteilung, independent battalion-sized unit. The battalion saw action on the Eastern and Western fronts during World War II. As with other German heavy tank battalions, it was normally not assigned to a single corps, but shuffled around according to war circumstances. Later the battalion became part of the newly formed Panzer Corps Fellernhalle as the Fellernhalle Heavy Tank Battalion. The unit was created on May 4, 1942. The unit consisted of 45 Tigers on May 10, 1943. In the aftermath of the Battle of Stalingrad, the battalion was deployed to Army Group Don and arrived at the front on January 1, 1943. The battalion, along with several divisions of the 4th Panzer Army, was tasked with securing the withdrawal of Army Group A. It then retreated to Rostov. On February 11, 1943, the unit was transferred to Kharkiv. It took part in the Third Battle of Kharkiv and the Operation Citadel in 1943. 4 days before the start of Citadel, the battalion reported that 42 of their 45 Tiger tanks were operational. The unit lost 3 Tigers during the operation and 5 more during the subsequent retreat. In January 1944, the battalion, together with the Panzer Regiment and infantry units, formed Panzer Regiment Bake. The regiment was part of the relief force, which tried to unsuccessfully break through to encircled forces in the Battle of the Korsun-Cherkasy Pocket. The battalion was then trapped in the Kamenets-Podolsky Pocket. In late April 1944, the regiment was dissolved and sent west for refitting and equipped with 45 new Tiger IIs. The 5th SS Panzer Division Viking, German, 5. SS Panzer Division Viking, or SS Division Viking was an infantry and later an armoured division among the 38 Waffen-SS divisions of Nazi Germany. It was recruited from foreign volunteers in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, the Netherlands and Belgium under the command of German officers. During World War II, the division served on the Eastern Front. It surrendered on 9 May 1945 to the American forces in Austria. The Nordic formation, originally organized as the Nordische Division, near 5, was to be made up of Nordic volunteers mixed with German Waffen-SS personnel. The SS Infantry Regiment Germania of the SS Verfügungsdivision, which was formed mostly from Germans, was transferred to help form the nucleus of a new division in late 1940. In December 1940, the new SS motorized formation was to be designated as SS Division Germania, but after its formative period, the name was changed to SS Division Viking in January 1941. The division was formed around 3 motorized infantry regiments, Germania, Westland, and Nordland, with the addition of an artillery regiment. Command of the newly formed division was given to Felix Steiner, the former commander of the Verfügungstruppe SS Regiment Deutschland. After formation, the division was sent to Uberg in Germany for training. By April 1941, it was ready for combat. The division was ordered east in mid-May, to take part with Army Group South's advance into Ukraine during Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. In June 1941, the Finnish Volunteer Battalion of the Waffen-SS was formed from volunteers from that country. This unit was attached to the SS Regiment Nordland of the division. About 430 Finns who fought in the Winter War served within the SS Division Viking since the beginning of Barbarossa. In spring 1943, the Finns' 2-year contract ended, and the Finnish battalion was withdrawn. During that same time frame, the Regiment Nordland was removed to help form the core of the new SS Division Nordland. They were replaced by the Estonian Battalion Narwa. Invasion of the Soviet Union. Troops of the division in the Soviet Union in 1941. The division took part in Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union, advancing through Galicia, today's Ukraine. In July and August, Viking participated in the encirclement battles at Uman and Kiev. Later in August, the division fought for the bridgehead across the Dnieper River at Dnepropetrovsk. Finally, the division took part in the heavy fighting for Rostov-on-Don before retreating to the Mias River line in November, to hold for the winter. The Jagdtiger, hunting tiger, officially designated Panzerjägertiger Ross. B citation needed, is a German casemate type heavy tank destroyer, Jagdpanzer, of World War II. It was built upon the slightly lengthened chassis of a Tiger II. Its ordnance inventory designation was Sd.Kfz. 186. The 72-ton Jagdtiger was the heaviest armored fighting vehicle, AFV, used operationally by any nation in World War II and the heaviest combat vehicle of any type to be produced during the conflict. It was armed with a 128mm Pak 44 liters/55 main gun which could outrange and defeat any AFV fielded by the Allied forces. It saw brief service in small numbers from late 1944 until the end of the war on both the Western and Eastern Front. Although 150 were ordered, only around 80 were produced. Due to an excessive weight and an underpowered drivetrain system, the Jagdtiger was plagued with mobility and mechanical problems. 3 Jagdtigers survive in museums. The Panzerkampfwagen IV, PZ.KPFW. 4, commonly known as the Panzer IV, was a German medium tank developed in the late 1930s and used extensively during the Second World War. Its ordnance inventory designation was Sd.Kfz. 161. The Panzer IV was the most numerous German tank and the second most numerous German fully tracked armored fighting vehicle of the Second World War. 8,553 Panzer IVs of all versions were built during World War II, only exceeded by the Sturmgeschütz III assault gun with 10,086 vehicles. Its chassis was also used as the base for many other fighting vehicles, including the Sturmgeschütz IV assault gun, the Jagdpanzer IV self-propelled anti-tank gun, the Wirbelwind self-propelled anti-aircraft gun, and the Brummbär self-propelled gun. The Panzer IV saw service in all combat theaters involving Germany and was the only German tank to remain in continuous production throughout the war. Although the Panzer IV was deployed to North Africa with the German Afrika Korps, until the longer gun variant began production, the tank was outperformed by the Panzer III with respect to Amur penetration. Both the Panzer III and IV had difficulty in penetrating the British Matilda II's thick Amur, while the Matilda's 40mm QF2 pounder gun could knock out either German tank. The Matilda II's major disadvantage was its low speed. By August 1942, Rommel had only received 27 Panzer IV Rossf. F2s, armed with the L/43 gun, which he deployed to spearhead his armored offensives. The longer gun could penetrate all American and British tanks in theater at ranges of up to 1,500 meters, 4,900 feet, by that time the most heavily armored of which was the M3 Grant. Although more of these tanks arrived in North Africa between August and October 1942, their numbers were insignificant compared to the amount of materiel shipped to British forces. The Sturmgeschütz III, Sturmgeschütz III, assault gun was Germany's most produced fully tracked armored fighting vehicle during World War II, and second most produced German armored combat vehicle of any type after the Sd.Kfz. 251 half-track. It was built on a slightly modified Panzer III chassis, replacing the turret with an armored, fixed superstructure mounting a more powerful gun. Initially intended as a mobile assault gun for direct fire support for infantry, the Sturmgeschütz III was continually modified, and much like the later Jagdpanzer vehicles, was employed as a tank destroyer. The Elephant, German for elephant, was a heavy tank destroyer used by German Wehrmacht Panzerjäger during World War II. 91 units were built in 1943 under the name Ferdinand, after its designer Ferdinand Porsche, using VK45.01P. Tank hulls produced for the Tiger I tank design abandoned in favor of a Henschel design. In January to April 1944, Ferdinands received modifications and upgrades. They were renamed Elephant in May 1944. The official German designation was Panzerjäger P-Note 1, and the ordnance inventory designation was Sd.Kfz. 184. Armor 200 mm, 7.87 in, maximum main armament 8.8 cm. Pack 43 halves of Elita/71, also known as Stuck 43-1 secondary armament 7.92 mm MG34 machine gun, Elephant only, engine 2 times Maybach HL 120 TR Rem petrol 600 PS, 592 horsepower, 442 kilowatts, power/weight 9.2 PS, 6.8 kilowatts. Ton suspension longitudinal torsion bar fuel capacity 950 liters operational range 150 kilometers, 93 mile, road 90 kilometers, 56 miles, cross-country maximum speed 30 kilometers per hour, 19 miles per hour. The Sd.Kfz. 250, German, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 250, special motor vehicle, was a light armored half-track, very similar in appearance to the larger Hanomag-designed Sd.Kfz 251, and built by the D-Mag firm, for use by Nazi Germany in World War II. Most variants were open-topped and had a single access door in the rear. The Sd.Kfz 250 was adopted in 1939 to supplement the standard half-track. Production delays meant that the first vehicle did not appear until mid-1941. Franz Hack. Waffen-SS. SS Sturmbannführer. Commander of the 3rd. Gepanzert, SS Panzer Grenadier Regiment 9 Germania on 14 May 1943. Knight's Cross recipients. Awarded, 844th, Cleves 18 April 1945, Sturmbannführer was a Nazi Party paramilitary rank equivalent to major that was used in several Nazi organizations, such as the SA, SS, and the NSFK. The rank originated from German shock troop units of the First World War, the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, German, Ritterkreuz des Eisernen Kreuzes, and its variants were the highest awards in the military and paramilitary forces of Nazi Germany during World War II. The Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross was awarded for a wide range of reasons and across all ranks, from a senior commander for skilled leadership of his troops in battle to a low-ranking soldier for a single act of extreme gallantry. A total of 7,321 awards were made between its first presentation on 30 September 1939 and its last bestowal on 17 June 1945. The Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross with Oak Leaves, Ritterkreuz des Eisernen Kreuzes mit Eichenlaub, was introduced on 3 June 1940 to further distinguish those who had already received the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross and who continued to show merit in combat bravery or military success. A total of 7 awards were made in 1940, 50 in 1941, 111 in 1942, 192 in 1943, 328 in 1944, and 194 in 1945, giving a total of 882 recipients, excluding the 8 foreign recipients of the award. Karl Franz Joseph Rossman Knight Cross recipient with the Knight's Cross, and the white collar piping, Waffenfarbe, and patches of the Hermann Göring. Luftwaffe Oberleutnant. Chief of the 16. Flak Regiment General Göring, motorized 12 November 1941. Awarded 725th Oak Leaves 1 February 1945. At the end of the Battle of Uman, the encircled Soviet forces attempted a desperate breakout by night, running into the 16th Battery of the Flak Regiment Hermann Göring, under Oberleutnant Karl Rossman, aka Battery Rossman, and with a handful of infantry including troops from the SS Division Viking between Uman and Slatopol near the town of Swerdlikau. The Rossman's formation held out for 14 hours against all attacks, thus playing a major role in ensuring the destruction of Soviet 6th, 12th and elements of the 18th Armies. For this action Rossman received the Knight's Cross on 12 September 1941. Back in Germany, the flak elements in the Reich took positions in Munich where they contributed to the city's air defense for a short period, before being moved near Paris, remaining there into the spring of 1942. The Panther tank, officially Panzerkampfwagen V Panther, abbreviated PZKPFWV, with Ordnance Inventory Designation, Sd.Kfz. 171, is a German medium tank of World War II. It was used on the eastern and western fronts from mid-1943 to the end of the war in May 1945. On 27 February 1944 it was redesignated to just PZKPFW Panther, as Hitler ordered that the Roman numeral V be deleted. In contemporary English language reports it is sometimes referred to as the Mark V. Hummel, German, Bumblebee, was a self-propelled gun based on the Geschützwagen III/4 chassis and armed with a 15 cm howitzer. It was used by the German Wehrmacht during the Second World War from early 1943 until the end of the war. Its ordnance inventory designation was Sd.Kfz 165. The full name was Panzerfeldhaubitze 18M auf Geschützwagen III/4, SF, Hummel, Sd.Kfz. 165. On February 27, 1944, Hitler ordered the name Hummel to be dropped as it was deemed inappropriate for a fighting vehicle. The Hummel was designed in 1942 after the need for mobile artillery support for tank forces had been demonstrated during the invasion of the USSR. The self-propelled artillery already in service with the Wehrmacht had proven of limited value. The first option considered was mounting a 10.5 cm F-18 howitzer on a Panzer III chassis, rejected in favor of the same gun on a Panzer IV chassis. One prototype was built. This design was rejected in favor of mounting the more powerful 15 cm SFH 18 L/30 howitzer on the specially designed Geschützwagen III/4, which combined elements of both the Panzer III, driving and steering system, and Panzer IV chassis, suspension and engine. The same chassis was also used for the Nashorn tank destroyer. The Panther tank, officially Panzerkampfwagen V Panther, abbreviated PZKPFWV, with ordnance inventory designation, Sd.Kfz. 171, is a German medium tank of World War II. It was used on the Eastern and Western fronts from mid-1943 to the end of the war in May 1945. On the 27th of February 1944 it was redesignated to just PZKPFW Panther, as Hitler ordered that the Roman numeral V be deleted. In contemporary reports it is sometimes referred as the Mark V. The Panther was intended to counter the Soviet T-34 medium tank and to replace the Panzer III and Panzer IV. Nevertheless, it served alongside the Panzer IV and the heavier Tiger I until the end of the war. It had excellent firepower, protection and mobility, although its reliability was less impressive. The Marder I Martin, Sd.Kfz. 135, was a German World War II tank destroyer, armed with a 75mm Pak-40 anti-tank gun. Most Marder Is were built on the base of the tractor Blinder 37 litres, Lorraine, a French artillery tractor/armoured personnel carrier of which the Germans had acquired more than 300 after the fall of France in 1940. The Marder I was developed in May 1942 by Major Alfred Becker. It carried the 75mm Pak-40 anti-tank gun on a Lorraine chassis. As the gun was relatively large, the original crew compartment superstructure was removed to create the space needed to work the gun. This was done by Borstelkommando Becker, an organization in occupied France converting French armored fighting vehicles for internal security use. The gun was then mounted atop the chassis. Alkit, working in conjunction with Becker, produced the angled armor shielding for the crew compartment. The shielding was relatively light, and was open from above. The shielding provided the crew with protection from blast and small arms fire, but was not intended to stop armor-piercing rounds. The vehicle's primary function was to provide mobility to the anti-tank gun. It was not intended as a replacement for a tank. Between July and August 1942, 170 Marder Is were built on the Lorraine chassis. Later, several other French and Polish tanks were used as the conversion base for the Marder I, including the Hotchkiss H-39 and FCM-36. These conversions were also completed in 1942 by Borstelkommando Becker at the Hotchkiss plant on the outskirts of Paris. 24 Hotchkiss tanks were converted into a Marder I, the 7.5 cm Pak-40, SF, auf Geschützwagen 39 HF. The Marder Is initially served in infantry divisions on the Eastern Front and met with good success. They later made up a significant component of the armoured fighting vehicles of the reformed 21st Panzer Division in Normandy. Adolf Reeb. Waffen-SS. SS Untersturmführer. Zugführer, platoon leader, in the 7./SS Panzer Regiment II Das Reich. The 23rd of August 1944 Untersturmführer, German, NTTM-FI, lit. Junior Storm Leader, short, Ostuf, was a paramilitary rank of the German Schutzstaffel, SS, first created in July 1934. The rank can trace its origins to the older SA rank of Sturmführer which had existed since the founding of the SA in 1921. The rank of Untersturmführer was senior to Hauptscharführer, or Sturmscharführer in the Waffen-SS, and junior to the rank of Obersturmführer. Untersturmführer was the first commissioned SS officer rank, equivalent to a second lieutenant in other military organizations. The insignia consisted of a 3-silver pip collar patch with the shoulder boards of an army lieutenant. Because of the emphasis the SS placed on the leadership of their organization, obtaining the rank of Untersturmführer required a screening and training process different from the standard promotion system in the enlisted ranks. The Tiger I No. 323 serviced at 502nd Heavy Panzer Battalion. Tiger I heavy tank originally received the designation of Panzerkampfwagen VH, 8.8 cm, Ors Feb19, Sd.Kfz.182, but then in March 1943, was redesignated to Panzerkampfwagen Tiger, 8.8 cm length/56, Ors Fi, Sd.Kfz.181. It was commonly referred to as Tiger, Tiger I and PZKPFWI. Officially there was only one type of Tiger tank produced, but during the duration of production improvements were carried on. The first production Tigers were ready in August 1942 and from July 1942, 1,355 Tigers were manufactured till as late as August 1944. The 502nd Heavy Panzer Battalion, German, Schwere Panzerabteilung 502, was a German heavy tank battalion during World War II. The battalion was the first unit to receive and field the Tiger I. It fought on the Eastern Front. It was one of the most successful German heavy tank battalions, claiming the destruction of 1,400 tanks and 2,000 guns. Otto Carius, one of the best German tank aces, was a member. The 502nd Heavy Panzer Battalion was formed on the 25th of May 1942 at Bamberg from the 35th Panzer Training Battalion, German, Panzerabteilung 35. On the 23rd of July Hitler ordered that the first Tiger I tanks be sent to the Leningrad front. The 502nd became the first unit to receive Tiger Is when on 19 and the 20th of August 1942 4 Tiger Is were sent to the unit, which only partially equipped one company. German regulations called for a heavy tank battalion of 3 companies, with 45 tanks in total. 2. On the 29th of August 1942 the 502nd arrived at the Leningrad front.